that brings us to the memorandum of understanding between our Riverside Brookfield High School and Youth Outreach Services.
The district was previously using Rosencrantz to help with counseling and interventions for substance abuse with students, and Kristen and her team at the building level have identified the Youth Outreach Services, and so this is a memorandum of understanding so that they can work with our students at no cost to the district. And I believe there were a few questions that were submitted, Kristen.
Yes, so in the past, 2 years ago, Rosecrans had somebody that was here 1 day a week at RB, and the annual cost for that was over $17,000. And so because of that, and they were only here 1 day, last year we decided to not use their services, and we just used them for anytime we had a student who had a code of conduct violation, they could go to Rosecrans for free and receive an assessment to have a lesser consequence. And that was all that we used them for. So we currently don't have a contract or an MOU with Rosecrans at this time. And so Youth Outreach Services were able to secure some additional grants, both at the federal and state level, which is why they can now offer the services to our area, because those grants have expanded their area that they're able to work with. And as you can see from their list of services, both in the scope of the work, in the action sheet, and also the MOU, it's much more detailed. So the amount of services that they can provide our students goes well beyond drug counseling. So we're very excited about that. There were 2 questions in particular. One was about background checks. And so now that we have the ability to do this at RB, we want to conduct the background checks so that we get those results right away, and either Youth Outreach Services or that staff member will be paying for the background check. There was also a question about whether or not we wanted the MOU for the school year or for the calendar year, since it was inconsistent. And so on the bottom of page 2, we plan to change that to read for the 18-19 school year, so the MOU is consistent without. And then lastly, there was a question submitted about section 3 of the MOU, which I believe is confidentiality. And so we reviewed it with the district's legal counsel, and they said that we are agreeing to no more than what we're already obligated to do by law in that section, and that by naming us, it also states that will not take or receive any information that Youth Outreach Services may give us on students unless they have the parental consent on file as well.
Okay.
So our attorney felt comfortable with that section.
Have we ever talked to our outside counsel of whether we should be doing background checks on our contractors' employees?
We have a board policy that requires us to have contractors that are in regular contact with students must have a background check on file.
Right. Whether
or not it was completed and provided from the vendor. It does not clarify in our board policy with the in-house ability now of taking fingerprints and having direct counseling with students. We thought it'd be another level of protection for the district to have that in our file.
I think you should talk to our outside counsel whether we should be doing background checks on our contractors' employees.
Okay.
Now, what does it mean dependent? The only question you didn't answer, Kristen, was the teen pregnancy dependent on region? Are we in a region where they would provide that service? Or
We are.
Okay.
I don't think we're
seems like it's odd to be by region.
And that wasn't their language, and I don't think we plan to use that in the first year,
Okay.
but we'll see.
Thank you. So is there urgency on this one, or can we wait till the next board meeting?
This one you were looking for approval, correct?
I would, just because we have to, we still need to secure a staff member from Youth Outreach Services to come here, and so that's going to take some time too. And so I'd like to get it up and running as quickly as possible so we're ready to go for the second quarter.
Marion, this is labeled as a special committee of the meeting of the whole, correct? So that if we needed to take a vote, this board meeting is labeled as a special committee?
Yes.
Special meeting? So we could take a vote?
So does anybody have any questions or concerns if we take a vote on this today?
Yeah.
So just to clarify, they have not started yet till this.
Right, they can't start until we approve the MOU.
Okay. And this is no cost to us?
Correct.
There's two, go on, John.
Where are they getting their grant money?
You can go on their website and see, they have a whole list of different sources, but they have some federal grants, they have some state grants, and they have some local grants as well.
I guess the only thing you didn't say, we know it's free. Do we know if they provide quality services? Do you know anything about them besides the fact this is
So
free?
they started working with Argo last year, and Argo has been very satisfied
Okay.
and is looking to expand.
Okay.
And then they did some very preliminary work with LT last year, and they're hoping to expand that as well.
Okay.
They're also working with SE Gross,
Uh-huh.
and they're planning on providing services for that school as well.
Okay.
Is there any, I mean, what do they get out of this? Why are they expanding? I mean,
Why are
their
the other
mission,
schools
or-
expanding?
Yeah, it's a non-for-profit group, and they're looking to, their grants cover more regions now, so some of their grants have been specific as to what region of students that they can work with, and this one has expanded to our area.
is there any confidentiality issues, or do they use the student data, or are they doing research or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
You okay with it then, John? I'm willing to read it in and vote on it, except I want to add the language that we had. The outside counsel didn't understand my question. They didn't answer the question that I asked, and I'll clarify for Kevin so he could ask them, and whether we should be doing the background checks. So subject to you clarifying those two, and if necessary, amending it. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's what I suggested to Chris and the board in the past, is on things with some time sensitive would say, subject to final changes by outside legal counsel and the
Right.
superintendent.
So if the people don't mind, I'll read the resolution so I can add that language in, okay? Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School District 2A, Cook County, Illinois, hereby approves the Youth Outreach Service Memorandum of Understanding, subject to the superintendent working with outside counsel to address background checks for the contractor employees and the confidentiality language as presented in the September 25th, 2018 Board Agenda Packet.
Second.
So, seconded by Ms. Towner. So, would you take the vote?
Could we?
Go on, hold on. You want to discuss it? I'm sorry,
Just a little more discussion here.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
How are we going to monitor if this is working? And is this only like annually we have to renew it, or
Yeah,
perpetual, or what is it?
we have set up so that we can annually renew it, but how we've monitored it in the past is by the number of students that they have seen, and then also for the students that we do have parental consent to share data both ways on, we would be able to monitor whether or not we've seen growth in those students.
So we have the right to terminate for cause. Our dimension with the cause is when you're getting a free service with 30 days' notice, and it can be renewed on a mutual written consent by the parties. So almost we'd have to do an amendment at the end of the term.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Sierra?
Yes.
Ms. Temmer?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes. The matters for closed session are personnel, student discipline, individual student matters, purchase or lease of real property, probable, imminent, or pending litigation, collective negotiations, and school safety. There's no visitors still, so we'll skip over that. There were no discussion items requested. Does anybody want to add any items to be considered at future meetings at this point? Nobody? Okay. Does somebody want to read the resolution for the closed session?
Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, enters closed session for the purpose of considering appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, student discipline, sale or lease of real property, probable, imminent, or pending litigation, collective negotiations, and school safety.
Second.
John, you seconded?
Yes, we did.
Would you take the vote?
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Sierra?
Yes.
Ms. Temmer? Towner?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Okay, it's about 12 too. We start around 5 downstairs. Does that work for everybody?
Restrooms.